One of the first vegetables, green vegetables, to show up in our farmers market is asparagus, and we get really, really excited because here in Chicago, we haven't had green vegetables from the local farmers for a number of months. So I just want to put it in everything that I eat, and I'm going to show you a really delicious grilled asparagus dish with a dark Pasilla crema on it, which I think is so utterly delicious. Now, first of all, you have to choose the asparagus. Some people say the pencil thin stuff is really the best, but for me, I don't know, it sometimes doesn't have the best flavor. I think the larger of the asparagus spears has the best flavor, but sometimes they're a little tough on the outside, and I don't really want to be bothered with having to peel them all. So I like that sort of medium thickness on the asparagus. Good flavor, but tender enough on the outside. Now, when I'm starting to prepare them, I want to know where the tough part ends. So I literally hold it just like this and then bend it, knowing that the part that breaks off is going to be the tough part. I save that to make into asparagus soup. The rest of it, in this case, I've just lightly brushed it with olive oil, sprinkled it with salt, and I'm grilling it. If I was cooking outside, of course, I'd be on a regular charcoal grill at my house, but I'm in our test kitchen, and I'm using a grill pan for this. Now, to make that pasilla crema that I was talking about, I've started by browning an onion here in a pan. It's got lots of color on it. That's going to add to the deliciousness of this dish. And I'm going to add to that some garlic here. Stir that in. This is quite a bit of garlic, about 4 cloves of garlic to a medium-sized onion. I'm going to let that cook for a minute while I prepare those pasilla chilies. Now, the pasilla that I'm using is a dried chili. It's the long, skinny, what some people call pasilla negro, or black pasilla chili. And the first step to preparing it is to pull the seed pod off. I've got a small dish that I'm going to drop all the seeds into. Tear it open like that so that you can see all the seeds and the veins, and just pull all of those out. And then I am going to use some kitchen shears here to cut it into about 1/4-inch pieces. You'll notice that there's some seeds that will still be in there, and they'll just fall out as I'm doing this chopping here. Okay, so the garlic now has filled the kitchen with its beautiful aroma, and I'm going to, there's nothing like onions and garlic cooking together. I'm going to scoop about half of this caramelized onion and garlic mixture into a bowl here. The rest of it's going to go into my blender jar. Now, to the same pan that I did this onion garlic cooking, I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan a little bit. And then I'm going to add these pasilla chili strips, leaving behind as many of the seeds as I can. Now, I'm going to do this as a toasting method. Those of you that have watched me cook before know that the first step in preparing any of the dried chili dishes is to toast these chilies, and this won't take very long at all. I've got the fire a little low for it. I'm going to raise it to about a medium now, and I'm starting to smell those chilies already. That's the sign that they're starting to toast. A few seconds is really all they need. You let them go too far, it will add bitterness to the final crema. So this is just a very light toast here. Now, once they've filled the air with their perfume and you notice a slight change in their color, they'll actually lighten in color on the inside of them. I'm going to take half of these and put them into this bowl here. And the other half, I'm going to scrape into the blender jar for the base crema here. So I want everything to come out of this pot, every little bit of it to come out of the pot. I'm going to put that pot back over that medium heat. We're going to scrape into the blender some crema. Now, this is Mexican crema. You could use creme fraiche. And then the top goes on here, blender jar goes on its base, and we're going to blend this to a smooth puree. That took a couple of minutes because the skins of the pasilla chili are a little tough, and I want to make sure that this is completely smooth. I'm going to scoop it back into that pan where we did all the toasting and browning of the onions and garlic. To warm it through, it may be a little thick. I know I have to season it with salt. So I'm going to sprinkle a little salt in here. It's a little bit thick to use as a sauce. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of water here to thin it out. And there, let that simmer for just a second. I'm going to turn the fire all the way down. Okay, to this mixture of the caramelized onions and garlic and the toasted pasilla chilies, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt. I've got a little bit of balsamic vinegar that will be a nice, deep, rich flavor and tanginess. See how beautiful that is? It'll soften those toasted pasilla strips just a little bit too. And now we're ready to serve our grilled asparagus with the pasilla crema. So I've got a nice looking platter for the asparagus here. Lay that there in the center. And then I'm going to take the warm pasilla crema and spoon that over the top. I think I'll use this smaller spoon here. Oh, this stuff smells so good. And this is going to be perhaps a different way to think about serving asparagus for you with this dark chili crema. When we first made this here at our test kitchen, everyone was just so wild about it. Everybody wanted to run home and make asparagus with pasilla crema. That over there. And I'm going to spoon a little bit of this sort of sweet and sour, I guess we could call it, because it's got the balsamic vinegar, but the caramelized onions. That mixture over the top. A couple more of those little crispy pasilla rings there. And what we have here, I think, is one of the best asparagus dishes ever made.